Hi there, Marshall here with another episode of Plausibly Anything. Ba 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 ba. Sorry, I had to get that out of my system. That's a little bit melody of October Sky by this artist that I fell in love with that song. So I kind of been practicing the melody a little bit. Been doing some singing lessons once again, still. But today, this is about creativity. And I saw this awesome image the other day, and it was like either you're consuming or you're in the act of creating. So that really sunk into me, and it really makes sense to me because I've dealt with a lot of people that, and even myself at times, I've dealt with the mentality of consuming things versus creating things. And whether it's drinking or all these different things that you can consume, horrible food for you. I can kind of consider this area, this far left area, this consumption area, you're kind of like a zombie, really. And you're just consuming things and not thinking about it. Even consuming people in a way where you're consuming their energy. And I've experienced this a lot of times when I've been in a really good mood. And oftentimes when you reach this area of creativity and you're having fun, whether you've had a couple of drinks or not, you might be using a crutch, and that's what sometimes the alcohol you're consuming, it doesn't really always help you because you just need to kind of get in that cycle of creativity. And whenever you're in that area all the time, you usually don't leave that area unless something happens. But whenever you're having a few drinks and you're in a good mood and someone sees that, oftentimes some random person might be at the bar with you and they might try to consume that energy from you or take away that energy from you because they're just in that lower vibration, in that consumption area, that zombified mode where they believe that they need to just take things from interactions rather than collaborating. And so it really just struck me there on a spiritual level, but also physical level. You're consuming things on the physical level, the horrible food, the alcohol, possibly drugs, marijuana, consuming them. Sometimes they even give you a crutch to be creative, but it's like fake creativity. It's like your ability to be free of things by consuming them. So this area is very detached from your spirituality. It's very also distracted, where you're also consuming things like television or social media, where it's distracting you from the things that you want to work on and the things that you want to create. And so what we want to do is we want to get to this area a little bit further down the line, this spectrum here between consumption and creativity. I was calling, you could probably call this a bunch of things, but I'm calling this direct processing, where you're kind of processing the things that you want to do, maybe even reflecting on the fact that you're consuming too much stuff and you're not creating, and you sort of enter this area where you're moving down the spectrum. And so maybe you start limiting the things that are getting in your way, maybe even limiting some of the people that are getting in your way, and limit some sort of things that are detrimental, that are in this spiral, this downward spiral, this staying in the consumption mode. These, I guess, possibly the wokeness, the victimization. A lot of people were coming to realize that this trend that we're on, this victimizing trend, is very much just a creation from the mind, and it's actually relatively simple to sort of move on from this once you start really reflecting and start processing your way out. That's the direct processing. If you're in this indirect processing where you're just, these things are happening around you and you're not like, you're detached, you're distracted, you're not really processing it on that direct level. Even if you're depressed, you're not really processing this fact that you need to look internally in yourself. And that's what the depression is telling you. You need to look internally. But if you're distracted, you just kind of stay in this mode where you're like, okay, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm still alive. And then until something like possibly even tragic happens. And this kind of partially what kind of happened to me is like something tragic had to happen before I started recognizing that I was just distracted and in the indirect process of going through life, where I needed to start direct processing myself and reach that, start moving towards the direction of action. We'll call it massive action. I think I've heard other people call that massive action. But this direct processing is going to be focusing more on your mental health, planning to spend time operating instead of staying in your head. And a lot of times it's like you might feel bad about the fact that you're not able to act all the time, and you're kind of in that processing that area of processing, which it's like, okay, man, it's like, okay, sometimes you don't have the time to take massive action, which is okay, but continue to process this and gear yourself towards making that action. And as you start gearing yourself towards this massive action, you start realizing possibly even fears that you didn't even have before. Like all of a sudden you're not drinking anymore. All of a sudden these fears that you had before you went out to the bar, all of a sudden they're coming back. All of a sudden you can recognize what's triggering you, what's happening here. And these are the things that you're going to find in the action phase. And oftentimes you'll even get knocked down a peg back to processing, because all of a sudden you've hit this action phase and you're getting a lot of resistance. You're getting a lot of people that are possibly in that consumption mindset that are willing to, I guess, probably shame you just to try to get a reaction, or all these different things. And so what you need to do is sort of maybe become a philosopher in a way. Come up with these ways, or seek seek from influencers that are into self-development to figure out what's actually happening here, what's real, what's the reality of the situation. Are these things happening around you? Should they be triggering you as much as they are? And so you got to recognize what really is triggering you, because those emotions coming out of you are always your problem. Those are the things that you're creating. So this is such an important time, this action time, when you're creating this action, because you're dealt with all these things and you have to figure out. And oftentimes once you're knocked down to the direct processing, it may take you a while to get back into action. It may take something outside of yourself to help you get back into action, to help, I guess, circumnavigate all these certain limiting beliefs you have. So all of a sudden you realize, hey, maybe this influencer is right. Maybe I do need to write down these beliefs, that these limiting beliefs I have, and really structure my life in a way that can support the reframing of these limiting beliefs, and really take yourself to the next level beyond those limiting beliefs. And for me, I think I need to develop my own little top 10 beliefs or something like that. Again, almost like a yearly thing. I feel like I need to have these top 10 beliefs. If I'm going out, if I'm going to start massive action, I need to be able to fall back and at the end of the day being able to recognize, are these beliefs true or not? Are they, or if I'm second guessing, go back to the belief, sort of remind myself, this is what I believe, this is what the problem is, uh, how can I work towards making this belief true, and how can I get like the reference experience to help uh, make that belief true in my mind, because um, you can never really fully hide these things. If you operate out of an ego, you'll go out and you'll put up this front. All of a sudden, a consumption person will come by, and he'll just try to find a crack in your personality. And so it would be so hard to really just hide from this stuff if you don't if you don't truly believe that you're able to accomplish what you're going out to do. People will find cracks in your personality, and so you need to find a way to operate in a way that reaffirms his beliefs so much from the reference experience that you're not doubting yourself, because as soon as people see doubt, you're going to get the bad reference experience. So that's how you enter that stage of creativity, where it's free flowing, free associative, collaborative, comedic, adventurous, charismatic, leading, and win-win. You see these win-wins in all these like different scenarios. When you're out, you just see everything as like a win. All of your massive action is just this is somebody else's analogy, but Godzilla, the way that Godzilla kind of I think in the older versions of Godzilla, he just becomes stronger when he's bombarded with bombs and stuff like that. I don't know about the newer ones, but yeah, that sort of mentality for yourself, where like you've got these good structured beliefs, and beliefs even able to and this understanding of what people are throwing at you, when people are just testing you, that you don't have anything to really prove. You're not here to change people's minds. You're not, you're here to see win-wins. Those people that are consuming in the consumption mode, you can even still collaborate with them for the most part, until they become they'll get frustrated, probably because they don't operate at the same vibration level as you would if you have entered this creative area correctly. They, who knows what they could do. They honestly, that's how a lot of fights start. Even when people just want to beat it out of you. They're looking for that crack. If they don't find the cracks, eventually they want to like crack your head open and be like, well, what now? Something crazy like that, or they want to poison you or something. This stuff, I don't want to deter you from this stuff, but like, you have once people start operating out of that low vibration, sometimes you have to just walk away from that person if it becomes too toxic. So I don't mean to get off topic there. That's a little bit off topic, but once you understand this paradigm and where people are at in this spectrum, I don't know if paradigm would be the good word. I guess it would, because this paradigm's a pattern of sorts. But once you understand this, you'll understand when you just kind of need to separate yourself from somebody that's operating at a bad mentality. And then whenever you separate from them, you still have all this room to be creative with other people, and you have this glass half full mentality, and you can talk to anybody. But also, this creative part, a lot of times, it doesn't just mean like going out and talking to people, but also athletics. I think that what filled my creative side a lot of times was just my ability to go out and play soccer on a team that was competitive. And us as a group, everybody was, together. We were trying to reach that goal in a creative manner, in a physical manner, a common goal. There's a lot of great things that can come out of athletics, the pursuit of your own physical health, weightlifting, all kinds of different things. Whatever you can do to express yourself will actually even help you down the line. If you're just, let's say you're just having a conversation, you are filling that void of creativity in your life, and you won't even feel like you need to do anything. You're not in that consumption mode. I remember early on in college, I was very focused still on soccer, but I had a lot of people around me that were in a consumption mode where they were trying to get me to drink with them and stuff like that. Eventually, after my sophomore year of college, I stopped playing soccer, and at least at the college level, and I got involved with a lot of people that were in the consumption mode, and I became a consumer too, where I was consuming alcohol, and this pattern, it was not healthy for me. And I just remember I filled that void of creativity in a healthy manner, and I was in such a better mental state from it. And so that's what this is about, is finding those healthy ways to fill the void of creativity, and then continue doing that. Maybe you need to reflect on it, how you feel after you do these certain things, so that if you doubt going out some night, maybe you need to look back at that one night last week when you went out and talked to people, how great you felt after it. And so once you feel that void, man, of the creativity, the conversations, the immersion, even the creation of content becomes better also. I could create a lot better content if I was out being immersed more often, in that cycle of immersion. So that, like, sometimes I do video game content, sometimes I do it like part-time, a few days a week right now. I do some video game content at night or the afternoon, whatever it may be. But if I was to go out and continue to be immersed in things like that, and then do the content on top of that, I think I'll get a lot better results, because I'd be getting reference experience from real people, and then whenever I'm streaming in front of real people, they can kind of at least tap into that energy and really see where that comes from. But it's all about, getting to that adventure. Find the adventure out there, guys. It's out there. There's tons of ways to find it. I'm looking for an adventure, and I don't know where it's going to be, but I'm itching for an adventure right now, that's for sure, because I love doing this content creation here on this channel, but I want to do more acting, more immersion, I've been doing a lot of journalizing. I've been sort of bouncing between the direct processing and the action. And yeah, I'd like to get more immersed and be able to free flow better. I want to do, I've been writing some jokes and stuff like that. I write down a lot of, that's what right now my creative side oftentimes is just journalizing, writing some jokes down, writing lyrics down. I do even practice some lyrics too, or freestyle a little bit. The singing actually is probably the most immersive experience I have right now. When I go to singing my singing lessons, it's very immersive. I can't be distracted if I'm at my singing lessons, because I will miss points. I won't be productive. So you can't be distracted there. And I'm practicing that every day. It's very, very creative. I'm always constantly trying to figure out how I can structure my voice to get a better sound. So even though I get that direct guidance, I spend more days a week trying to come up with an understanding of what he's saying to me, and how to improve. So Yeah, it's been awesome, right? That's one of my favorite ways to be immersive right now and creative. And I'm going to continue doing that possibly forever. I love it. Playing the guitar right now. It's a way for me to get a little bit immersive. I talked about this last week where oftentimes we get stuck in the distraction, the conversations in your head. And I realized last week, and I said this in my last video, is that I was in a bad mood. And all of a sudden, I was like, screw this. I picked up the guitar. I started making up a funny song about the thought that was happening in my head. And all of a sudden, after I was done with that, like I kind of like forgot what I was even like worked up about. And all of a sudden, I wasn't even thinking about navigating my internal mind like I was for that short period of time during the day, where I was just like, why the heck am I thinking about this? And I just, started strumming and having fun with it. And that was my outlet into a higher vibration, the self-amusement, that sort of stuff that happens when you're in that upward spiral of creativity, away from all those negative things. Once you start recognizing these things, recognizing where you're at, that is like an extreme important part of this, is just recognizing where you're at on this spectrum and just working towards just working at it. There's no pressure. If you could just try to stay in the process in the direct process. Really find a way to stay in the direct process, enjoy the process. You never know where it's going to take you. And I wish you luck practicing this. I wish you luck. I really appreciate anyone that stuck around for this whole video, and really hope that this helped you understand where you're at in this whole search for creativity, or search for improvement in your life. Because I know that it's helped me mentally a lot to just seek different times where I can get creative, little blocks of my day, and then reflect on it, and journalize, and really, continue to stay on the process. Get yourself a notebook so you can, besides just having a notebook, I don't think you need anything else. You just need yourself. And maybe some other tools, but maybe a music instructor. But the tools are all there. You can find them. Find those outlets in the media that actually help you versus just distract you. And I hope I didn't distract you guys today. But that's going to be it for me. I'm Marshall. This is the channel is Plausibly Anything. We have a section, a playlist I call Mentoring 365, where my goal is to reach 365 videos. Hopefully we can do that this year. I doubt it because it's a lot of videos, but we're working towards it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.